Greetings, this is Craig Pepin, Project Lead for the Davis Grant. Thank you for listening to this audio recording from the Spring 2024 Competency Fellows Workshop Series. These workshops are funded by a grant from the Davis Educational Foundation, and together with other materials funded by the grant and available on the Competencies website, are designed to help enhance your understanding and learning of Champlain College competencies. Today's workshop, titled Integrating Technology Literacy in Teaching, is led by Miriam Khader, our Technology Literacy Fellow.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. So I'll be talking about how we can integrate technology literacy in teaching, how we can use, manage, assess, and understand the technology through our teaching. Just to start, I want to know I'm not sure if you have ever heard about this experiment for Sugata Mitra's The Hole in the Wall experiment. This is an interesting experiment where this professor is a professor in Newcastle University in UK. So the experiment was about, he went and cut a hole in the wall and put a computer, as you can see here, in the street, in poor area in Delhi, I think. Yeah, it was Delhi. So he left these computers without any instruction how to use the computers, how to access the internet, etc. Just left it there in the street for anyone who can pass by, can see these devices. The interesting thing is that after a while, these kids, they didn't know anything about how to use a computer, but after a while, they knew how to use the computer, how to access the internet, how to play games, and how to do a lot of things by themselves without the intervention of anyone, without any teacher or anyone to teach them how to do it. So based on this experiment, it has proven that the technology can be used to empower people, and the access to the right tools can help people to learn new skills and gain knowledge that can be used in their careers and everyday lives. And this is one of the important things about why we focus on technology. With the right tools, you can teach yourself anything you want, and of course, the sky will be the limit. This is just to tell you how important it is, technology literacy. And if you don't know me, all of you, my name is Miriam Khader. I am assistant professor in computer and digital forensic. I also work as a research fellow at the Leahy Center. I am a technology literacy fellow. Teaching is my passion. I have PhD in computer science, master in IT security and digital criminology. I have this certificate. All of them focus on digital forensics, and these are some of the conferences that I attended while I was working at Champlain College. Okay, so I'll start my presentation talking about what is technology literacy, and then I'll go over the criteria of technology literacy, and then what are the strategies can be used to add it to our teaching, and the effective assessment methods. I have an exercise for you to create engaging technology-enhanced learning environment, and I have tests for you at the end, so get ready. Okay, so I'll go with the definition that we have about technology literacy, then I'll go into details to understand it more. So technology literacy refers to the ability to use, understand, and evaluate technology in various contexts, and it is an essential component for modern education and a key skill for individual in digital age. When we talk about technology literacy, we also talk about our ability to analyze the systems that are constructed from technological tools and determine how the tools can be appropriate for solving problems and using and adapting these technological tools as necessary. The last thing about technology literacy, which many may not know about it, it involves analyzing the many ways in which technology will shape society and how the societies shape technologies as well. Okay, so this is just the definition of technology literacy. And I wanted to talk about the importance of technology literacy as a skill to add it in our courses, or why is it important skills for the student to get. Using technology literacy, we can have access to information, or let's say that technology literacy provides us access to information. It allows us to access vast amount of information available online. It empowers people to see To navigate the internet effectively, we can see reliable sources and stay informed in a wide range of topics. Now, with technology literacy also, it has enhanced our communication skills. Currently, we have a lot of digital communication tools. We have emails, we have social media, we have messaging app. The digital literacy is essential for our effective communication, and understanding how to compose and interpret the digital messages is crucial in our professional and personal context. Moreover, that technology literacy provide us with career opportunities, and many jobs today require at least a basic digital literacy skills and proficiency to be proficient in using software and navigating online platform and understanding digital tools is essential for this career. In thinking and evaluation, technology literacy gave us the ability to critically evaluate online information for credibility, accuracy, and relevance. Now, with the increase of misinformation on the internet, fake news, and biased content online, using technology literacy, we can make informed judgment and decision about what information we read and use. Technology literacy provides problem-solving skills because it's one of the criteria in technology literacy, and it helps us in citizenship and participation. In this digital age, being informed and responsible in as a digital citizen is important. It helps us to engage in online community, understand the implication of digital action, and contribute to the digital society. Last two things is that technology literacy helps us to understand online safety and security, and it's give us a lifelong learning because again, the digital landscape is dynamic, keep changing. With digital technology or technology literacy, we can understand how we can learn regardless of how the technology is changed. Technology literacy also provides us with the creativity and innovation and global connectivity. I go quickly a little bit because the slides, I don't want just to keep talking. You can go please later in the slides and read more how each of these benefit us as technology literacy. Okay, so I know still maybe some of you ask, so what is technology literacy, how we can use it? To understand it better, we need to go and see the criteria of technology literacy. So more of the people, when they think about technology literacy, they think about using technology. Oh, I am using a computer, I am using code, then this is technology literacy. However, this is correct in part of technology literacy because we have four main criteria: the system thinking, the social context of technology, problem solving, and using technology. The first criteria is system thinking. So when I think about teaching my student or adding the technology literacy as a competency in the course, I want to make sure that does it cover, for example, the system thinking, or do I teach the student system thinking? System thinking is the ability to analyze and evaluate components and the process of technological system and their purposes. We identify the component and the relationship between this component to solve a problem. To make it easier, the thing that I had in mind about system thinking is that we can compare between system thinking and linear thinking. This will help you to see if system thinking is something I need or not. When we talk about linear thinking, it's about addressing a problem by focusing in one isolated component and trying to get a straightforward cause and effect relationship. On the other hand, system thinking take a holistic approach, considering all the component, the interrelation between this component to get and to find a solution, which provide a more effective solution to deal with complex and dynamic situations. To understand more, we have two examples about the difference between linear and system thinking. So if I have this problem, the decreased sales of a specific product, let's see how linear thinking solve the problem and how system thinking solve this problem. In linear thinking, I might identify one factor about why do I have decrease in the sales. For example, the price of this product is high. So the solution will be to decrease the size of the product. We assume that this will solve the solution and this will we will have more customer about that. However, the price reduction might attract some customer, but it might not address other issues such as changing customer preferences, competitors, or market strategies. This is the linear thinking. When we try to solve this problem using a system thinking, we will consider different parts in this system. So, for example, we talk about the marketing strategies, we talk about the customer feedback, we can analyze the competitor action, the economic trend, and the product quality. If we look at all of these parts and the relation between them, using system thinking, we reveal that the decrease in sale is influenced, for example, by multiple interconnected factors. It might be a combination of poor customer review, increased competitors, and outdated marketing strategies. All these might be the reason of the problem, and to solve it, we need to look at all of these parts and try to solve it at once. So this is just to, I hope that makes system thinking more clear for you. And there is another example, I leave it for you to read it later, about also the difference between linear and system thinking. Now, we understand system thinking. I brought more example about system thinking, but this time I don't compare with linear thinking. So if I have a cybersecurity system and I want to see or to apply the system thinking in solving and understanding this system, I need to look at I need to do 3 more steps. First of all, define the components of my system. So in my cybersecurity system, I have network, I have devices, firewall, encryption software, I have also the user behavior. Now, I need to understand the interconnection between these components. First of all, for example, the user behavior influences the cybersecurity, and the role of the encryption is protecting the data and the interactions between the different components of this network. Now, I now know the interconnection between them. I need to start thinking systematically about this issue. Now, if I understand the connection between all of these steps, I can understand that cybersecurity is not just about implementing individual security measure, but also involve comprehensive understanding of the component in this system. So if I don't understand the cybersecurity system as well, I can put different security measure, for example, but I ignore the user behavior. So regardless of what you have, like if I have the best security measures and the user use like a weak password or write the password in the board, then I lost all of my security control. So it's important in system thinking always define your component, the interconnection between them, and then we can understand the system better. I have more examples, and I also have a different version of the slides with more examples, but I'll go quickly to finish in time. Okay, so this is the first criteria of technology literacy. How can I systematically think about solving a problem? The second one is social context of technology. In this criteria, we focus about can we analyze the relationship between the society and technology and understand how the technology change society and culture and how social and culture will change and affect the development of technology. For this, I brought also different example. I say it's better using example to understand it. So how technology has influenced social structure, norms, and interactions, and what are the positive and negative impact in aspects like privacy, inequality, and cultural shift. One example is the digital divide and educational inequality. If we look at the social or positive social impact of technology, we can see that technology provide online education platform and resources which has expanded the access to learning opportunities for individuals. Using these digital tools, we have more inclusive educational experience, breaking down traditional barriers to access the information. However, on the other hand, we can see that there is a negative impact because of the digital divide. Some individuals or communities lack access to reliable internet and technology, which worsen educational inequalities between these different communities. So these students who does not have access to digital resources may face disadvantage in their academic progress, contributing to widening the gap. The gap. So this is another example about the social impact of technology. This is another example is algorithmic bias and discrimination, that the positive impact of using technology is that the algorithms can be used in various domains from job recruitment to healthcare to make a process more efficient and unbiased. However, sometimes we get problems of algorithmic bias, which has potential to sustain and even worsen the existing social inequalities. So biased algorithm utilized in hiring procedure, for example, might unfairly impact specific demographic groups, further contributing to systematic discrimination.
Okay.
Also, I added other examples. I hope that you will be able to go over them and see how the technology has been affected the social context. Okay. This is another example of social context of technology, which is only focus on the ethical consideration. So when we talk about technology, it's important to consider the privacy, the security, and the digital rights, and the ethic use of emerging technology like AI, for example. So there is, to talk about the ethical consideration in digital literacy, we talk about, for example, a facial recognition in public system. So the city authorities deploy a facial recognition technology in public spaces such as airport, shopping mall, public transportation hubs to enhance the security and identify individual with a potential security threat. We can look at this problem like the positive and negative impact of using technology in this example. So the positive aspect is that facial recognition can contribute to the public safety by identifying potential threats in a crowded area. However, the negative impact is that individual might feel that their privacy is invaded as a technology capture and analyze their facial feature without explicit consent, leading to concern about constant surveillance. Similar to this, we can discuss the security and accuracy, the digital right and consent, and the ethical use of technology.
All right.
I hope that these cover the social context of technology. I'll go over the examples. And these two examples, this will show us also how the society also helped to shape the technology. I think it's this one. Okay. The third criteria of technology literacy is the problem solving. In the problem solving, we identify the problem that have potential technological solution and apply this technology to evaluate and solve a problem. So when we solve a problem, we have a specific step that we have to follow. First, we need to define the problem, identify the root cause of the problem, try to think critically about how to solve it, prioritize our solution, enable collaboration and communication, and then we go through the step until we finally document and knowledge share this solution. For examples about problem solving, this example when we talk about network connectivity issue, we define, first of all, the problem that we have devices in network that are unable to connect to the internet. How we can solve it? We can check, for example, the network setting, troubleshoot hardware and connection, and examine the router configuration. We might also reset the router, update the firmware, or contact internet service provider for assistance and resolve connectivity and issue. So we always define the problem and what are the possible solutions for solving this problem. Another example is about software compatibility. If a user needs to run a specific software program, but it's not compatible with their operating system, we need to find solution for this problem. And first of all, we need to add all the possible solutions and then choose one of them. For example, we can see the compatibility options of this software like virtualization or using compatible modes. And then we might research for alternative software or seek community forum for guidance and help in this. So in this slide, if later you see the notes, there are more examples about problem solving. I got the problem and how we can solve this problem. So the last criteria for technology literacy is using technology, which is, I think most of us know this criteria and use this criteria. So in using technology, it's just about use and adapt technologies that are relevant in your role as an educated citizen and the ability to explain best practices in using a technology. Examples on using technology is using tool or technological tool like online platform, educational app, collaboration tools, and multimedia resources. So, for example, we can use online platform like learning management system, Moodle, Canvas, Blackboard to allow us to present our courses. We can use educational app, which make the study more interesting for students. We can use collaboration tools like Google Workspace, Microsoft Teams, Slack, which has features such as real-time collaboration, file sharing, and communication. So this was the last criteria of technology literacy. And I'll go back over this one to talk more about it when I finish at the summary. I'm not sure if we have, I'll leave the question until the end.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So after talking about the criteria of technology literacy, I'll talking about what are the strategies that can we use for technology integration in our courses. One of the examples like how we can implement technology in our classes is using a flipped class room model. In this model, a student engage with instructional content online before class. So for example, the class can be recorded, shared with the student before the class. So before they come, they know the content, which allow them to ask questions, and the time of the class will be only for discussion, problem solving, and collaborative activities. We can use video lectures and online resources also to facilitate this way of teaching. Another way to add the technology in our classes is using virtual reality for history education. So creating online discussion forum or a class blog also encourage collaborative learning and communication. So a student can engage in this discussion beyond the classroom, sharing insight and perspective. And we can use Moodle or WordPress also to facilitate the creation of these online spaces. Using interactive simulation and virtual labs also, this is another way of how we can use technology in our classes and make the teaching easier for students. Using games for engagement, online discussion forum and blogs, adaptive learning approaches. So all of these just techniques that can help us to use technology literacy in our classes. Now, what are the effective assessment methods that we can use technology in? Online quizzes and formative assessment, this is a way that we can use to assess the understanding of the student. So we can use online quiz platform like quizzes or Google Forms. This will help us to give immediate feedback and analytic for the student, and it can help us to tailor the instruction based on the individual or the class need. We can use peer assessment via digital platform, and I think Canvas have this feature in it. We can use peer assessment in Canvas. We can use digital portfolio for continuous assessment, or we can use automated grading system for multiple choice questions. We can use also interactive whiteboard assessment or simulation and scenario-based assessment to assess the student performance. We have other technique. We have the real-time polling and feedback tools and the video-based assessment. Finally, we have the online discussion and participation assessment, where the assessment strategy is about assessing student participation in online discussion using a platform like Slack or Microsoft Teams. And instructor can evaluate the quality of contribution and critical thinking and collaboration skills for the students. Okay, so far I talked about the technology literacy criteria and how we can add technology to our classes. For this part, create an engaging technology-enhanced learning environment. I have added a small exercise, so I hope that we can have 10 minutes to go over this exercise.
Do you want to paste that into the chat? Can you put the link in the chat?
Yes.
Yeah. No.
As the slides, I'm not sure yet.
You're not good.
Yes.
There we are.
So there are two parts of the questions. The first set of the question is about how to use technology in your courses. And remember that using technology in the course is just a part. It's not about, like, this is not technology literacy. So, for example, do you use an online assessment method or do you use collaboration tools in your class? If you use this technique, type the name of the course that you teach where students may use technology.
Yeah.
And using technology may also include, for example, sending emails or sharing Word document using Google Drive. I'm sure there's a question. Mention two digital tools that can enhance pedagogical approach in your course. And these are the approaches: online discussion forum, verification for engagement, interactive simulation, virtual reality, or flipped classroom.
That's good. No cheating.
No, you can't cheat.
I'm just going to see what Ollie wrote.
Mention two digital tools that can be used as an assessment method for your course. The second set of a question is about how to integrate technology literacy in your courses. So the difference between this set and the first set, in the first set, we just use technology, but we don't have to assess technology literacy in our courses as a competency. But in the second set, no, I want you to consider the technology literacy as a competency in the course. So you teach the student either a problem solving, system thinking, you teach them how to use technology, or one of these criteria. So if my student use technology, it doesn't mean that I assist technology. If my student use email to communicate with me, no, I'm not covering technology literacy competency. This is what the difference between the two sets of questions. In this set, the second one, the technology literacy is, or one criteria of technology literacy is part of your teaching. What is the course description from technology literacy? Which of the following can be integrated in this course? And finally, your feedback. As I said, I'll share later another version of the slides. By the way, it is here.
Yes.
This version of the slide has more examples, more information about each different criteria. And I can send it later by email.
Yep.
Yeah. So here in the form, whatever you answer, like the emails will not be collected. Okay, it will be anonymous. Yeah.
So concerns about privacy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But by the way,
Was who's a clown?
not the test, the feedback.
Yeah. The test question.
No, not the test, not yet. I only have one response, so I'll wait a little.
They don't answer, don't give them a point.
Yeah, that's right. That's I can submit others.
Is there another one? By the way, also, while we have time, if anyone have questions, please let me know.
I'd say a comment. I'd love to say that, and it's nice that Josh is in the room because Josh also helped design this rubric back in 2018. So, thinking in terms of technology as not just digital technologies, but also like analog technologies, so things like bicycles, table saws, electric saws, and so on and so forth. So I think that's one of the things we always were interested in thinking, not that I'm advocating bringing table saws into the classroom, mind you, but trying to allow students to think of technology as not just being sort of computer technology. Although there's so many of them just think, when they think of technology, only think of information technology.
Yes.
So I think that's always been one of the challenges with this particular competency.
Yes. And I think this is mentioned also in the problem solving.
And problem solving.
So yeah, it's not about using technical tools. It's just about the problem solving and troubleshooting, not only about using tools to solve a problem.
I really liked the examples that you gave for the social context of technology, because that sometimes it can be hard to sort of imagine seeing that relationship. And all those examples I thought were really good. So
Yeah. It's interesting. The systems thinking was a slightly different approach than I always thought of it.
yeah, me too.
I was always thinking like, let's say you're like Adobe Photoshop, graphic design, we need to understand the concept of different layers and masks. So there's these systems embedded there, or you're like file systems, so like hierarchy structures of, and so there's some of that conceptualization that goes along as people acted these technologies. Good. Yeah. And it's also interesting, there was an interesting overlap with the info lit, because originally you had information literacy and technology literacy integrated together.
Yeah.
And there are some aspects of yours that started to touch on information literacy, because there is now, like, as you're trying to recognize, is this information trustworthy? There's so much tech that can be behind what made it not trustworthy. Because there was total that has been generated using AI, and I don't even know what is true to both. The new Google one is they can produce 1 minute video, and it's crazy realistic.
Oh, Gemini? Yeah.
No, those new Sora. It's openly.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah.
And so it's generative video now.
Yeah. You just some of it, you just give it words, and it converts it to a video. And you can speak in almost anyone's voice. 30 seconds or a minute of recording it to a piece of virtue.
So I just want to go over two examples at least. So we have here the class game history. Mentioned two digital tools can enhance the pedagogical approach in the course, playing video games hands-on and using library sidecar tutorials. And what are the tools that can be used an assessment method for the course? Library sidecar tutorials. It's nice. I'm not experienced with it, but we have an assessment tool that's available, or Canvas automated quizzes, which is, I believe, is available for everyone. Do you teach technology literacy in the course as competency? It's the history of video games, and it teaches everything. This is great.
Yeah,
so I think.
really. And so I didn't know it was anonymous, so I put my name in there.
Nice.
That's actually a very interesting class to talk about, because I almost didn't put systems thinking down, and I probably shouldn't have, now that I think about it, because it is good about using technology because the students are encouraged to use old video game systems. And they have to learn how to sort of learn about the difference between emulated games and playing it on the original system. And there's some systems thinking in that they learn how some of those old video game systems work at a very basic level, but not that much. And honestly, I think Jonathan Ferguson would teach it, but I can't teach it because he knows that technology really, really well. And I just don't know that very, very well. So I think my version of that class does not do very much with systems thinking, but it does do it a lot with social context of technology that other sections don't, because we look at issues of representation of gender in video games. And a number of my female students spoke quite eloquently about how times when they had been abused online in online video gaming spaces by male gamers who were, in other states or in other parts of the planet, probably. And it really allowed some of the male students in that class to better understand how their actions could potentially sort of harm others, and how that particular system of technology enabled a form of bullying that would be less prevalent if there was face-to-face, for example. So we talked about the ways in which we also talked about why some of the earliest video games had guns. And it's because, in part, because the earliest video games came out of people who were in the defense industry. And in particular, a guy named Ralph Baer, who's considered to be the father of home video games, was a German emigre. And he went back to Germany with the US Army in World War II. And his job was to collect all these German weapons and show American officers how to use them. So he had an enormous background in all these different weapons. And so the very first video game was ultimately manufactured by Magnavox. But one of the very earliest add-on features was a light gun. And it was like, why was the gun there? And it was part because that's what he knew. And in part because he worked for Sanders Associates, which was one of the biggest defense contractors in the country at that point. And so to justify it to his bosses, in part, it had to be seen to have some sort of military application. So I like to use that as an example of sort of the relationship between culture and technology. That's not a one-way. That doesn't go one way or the other way, but each influences the other, because the inclusion of those light guns then led to, a tendency of video games towards these sort of shooter type games.
Nice example. Yes. So we talk about also CSI 281. The course mentioned two digital tools can enhance the pedagogical approach in this course: Google Forms and Google Drive. Students can use it for sharing information, and this can be used to get the feedback of them. Assessment method, we can use Canvas, automated grading, for example, and Visual Studio. In all of my courses, yeah, I have an ITS, too many. Okay, so in the courses, the system thinking, using technology, problem solving, the social context is not covered. So I think for our courses also the social context of technology is covered when you talk about the privacy issues and the using of the encryption, for example. I wish to see one about like one of the core classes or something like that. We have the math, and so in the math, mission to digital tools can enhance the pedagogical approach in this course. This most online calculator, Apache, OpenOfficer, mentioned to digital tools, can they use an assessment method? There is none, but I can suggest that. So if you have like a questions and you only need an answer as a number, we can use the automated grading in Canvas. This can also be used as an assessment. How to integrate technology literacy in your course is not applicable. Okay. Yeah, they can use technology, but yeah, this is one of the things I wanted to emphasize on. I think it's one of my slides here at the end. I'll go back to that slide. Do I have to assess technology literacy in my course or not? This is what I want. Like, this is the output of my presentation. So this is what I want you to think about. So are my students only using technology, or do I teach my student how to use technology? So if they are just using technology, then no, you're not assessing technology literacy in your course. But if I teach them how to use the technology, then this is part of technology literacy, which is using technology. This is one of the main things that I wanted everyone just to realize. The other types, system thinking, social context, and problem solving, are other types. We can read more about them to define them. And when you talk about technology literacy, and if I say technology literacy is part of my course, which criterion should I assess? Which one of these are in my courses? And when you talk about technology literacies, which tool can I use in my classes to make the teaching better for my students? Okay. And before you go, everyone, we have a test. So I'll share the link with you. This link will help you if you...
This good.
Yeah, it is the test. Did you share it?
Yeah.
Then should we wait?
In this code. Just need to add the answer point.
Okay, so we can wait 5 minutes, please. Don't log in now. If there's any question, please let me know.
I do have a question. And it's about teaching students how to use technology. And I don't have an answer for this, but it's one thing to teach students how to use a specific technology. Like if I want my students to use the Zotero annotative bibliography, I can sort of teach them how to do that. But how do we equip them to, if they need to learn a new technology that we're not going to teach them directly after they leave Champlain? Or what are some of the ways we can best equip them to more effectively learn a new technology when we're not teaching them a specific technology? I don't have the answers to that. And those things just occurred to me. But I'd love to hear, especially if anybody out there in the audience also has some ideas. I'd be very curious to know. And if you have some ideas.
How to teach them the ability to learn, regardless of what we teach them.
Yes, exactly. So when they leave Champlain and they
can learn by themselves.
Learning about new technological tools, is there any sort of guidelines or ways of teaching ways of learning that we can help them better learn new technologies? I don't know.
I mean, the two that come to mind is being able to read documentation and training materials and get up to speed quick. So whatever the kit is, there's some tools in that kit. And if the students self-select the tools, so it's differentiating, they're not all learning the same set. They identify, here's the library program language, here's the plugin to Adobe that I wouldn't learn. Then I they need to get up to speed with it on their own. I think that practice getting up to speed translates to new problems. And then the other spot is I think there's certain common concepts in computing. Like I'm amazed in my programming course, I have a spot where they have to build tags into a database system. And they don't know what a tag is mostly. Like the concept that you could create this label, but that same thing, you can't use Gmail and use the folders in Gmail that work like tags. That's the reason why an email could be in multiple folders, right? Because it's really just a tag concept. And so that concept shows up all over the place in computing platforms. So once you get it once, you know it in all these other places. And so I think some of those like folder structures, it's just a outline hierarchy, right? So it's just a tree. And so if you ever made an outline in an English class of your research paper, right? Well, you know hierarchies, and that should translate to a folder hierarchy.
I think what we do in our major that we encourage them to use different tools also. I think it's similar, like we cover one tool, but there are other tools, go and use them yourself. So they go and search on the internet to use them. So I did this in one of my classes, like I teach them this tool, how to do everything. However, in the assignment, you have to use also the other tool to solve the same problem. So they had to go and to know how to use it, to use the other tool. Because again, we can't cover everything in the class, and we tell them that. So this is what we use in our courses.
Are they similar tools so that the concepts?
They have the similar output.
Okay.
But but the way to use it is different.
It's different. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is what I have in mind. So I also...
Sounds like a really good practice to make them more self-sufficient when it comes to learning. I like that.
Discussion board and following forum, blogs based on your interest. This is another suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah, especially when, for example, they have an error. I always encourage them like, oh, you have an error, read the error, understand what is it before I tell you what is the answer. So this is another way also to say it. Is the test ready? Thank you so much. So the test is ready. Shall I go and see the questions?
But it be chatting.
Yes,
I closed my laptop, and then of course it
okay.
it's all jacket. It really flex.
There we go. This is a long test. Then.
So another question, and I leave it open for later. It doesn't have to be now. If you teach a course and you're not sure if I should assess technology literacy in this course or not, so I can like whenever you want, just send me your question or the course description, and we can talk about it. We can meet and talk about it, just to understand like, is technology literacy competency part of my course or not? And again, it doesn't have to be like a main component of my course, because again, we have different degrees. So if you remember the numbers, like if I focus on technology literacy, it will have number 4. If less, it will be less. So if anyone have a question, please let me know and we can meet and talk about it.
Great. And I'll simply add that that's true for all the competency fellows.
Yes.
Didn't say that last time, but we definitely say that every single time. So.
Because I know for some courses, sometimes it's going to be like vague. I'm not sure if I cover it, if I don't cover it. But the main thing I have in mind so far now is this. Do I teach any of these, or do I just use it? So when I use it, no, it's not part of my course. If I teach it, then yeah, it is part of your course and you need to add it as a competency. By the way, also I have extra questions to assess technology literacy competency. So if you teach technology literacy, please go to the notes in this slide, and I have questions for you if you want to add it to your course later.
Oh, wow. Study.
Yeah.